Alrighty, alrighty. Alright, welcome to the Good Job Buddy Show. Every which way you go, you can drink us with a beer, you can stick us in your ear, and we'd still be right by your heart. This is the Good Job Buddy Show. Have a seat, there you go. Stick your thumbs in the air or anywhere that you dare, you'll be doing your part. This is the Good Job Buddy Show. Today, we'll have a very special guest on, very special guest, right up there with Mike Nappy. This will be the largest, I'd say the most well-known artist we've had on the show. How about that? I'll say it like that. If you ever watch The Hills on MTV, you might recognize him as long as you've only watched season 1. And I'm kidding. And hopefully he would think that's funny. But recently, Brian Drolet has, he's on the comedy, he's a comedian now. He has put out a movie called Be Like Trees, which you can find, I've talked about it several times, you can find here on YouTube, Be Like Trees, and it is fantastic. It's shot entirely on an iPhone, and you wouldn't even know it. I'm going to play a clip from the movie and bring Brian up here for a matinee interview on the Good Job Buddy Show, where, yeah, we get down like this. This is how we roll. So, I'm going to play the clip. This is just a clip from the movie that is near the beginning, but, you know, it's just too funny to let go. So here we go.
Voice lessons. Waste of money when I can do this.
Uber for Andy?
That's me.
All right.
Warner Brothers, huh? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, been there a few years. Good spot.
Yeah, definitely seen 1 or 2 of their movies.
I know you. Where do I know you from? I never forget a face. You're an actor, right? You gotta be in this town. What have you been in? What have you been in that I might have seen?
One thing most people recognize me from is MTV's The Hills. I was Heidi's ex-boyfriend's roommate. I was on season 1. I was one of the main cast members. There was Jordan, Jason.
My daughter watches that. I've seen you on that.
I even made my own movie.
You made a movie?
I made a movie.
A real movie?
A real movie with big actors, dumbbells. It never came out though.
Dumbbells?
I actually thought I should produce my own movie using just an iPhone with no money. Maybe that'd be kind of cool and out of the box.
What are you, some crazy indie thing that nobody watches? Gonna waste your time with that?
Yeah, it probably would be a waste of time, I guess.
Yeah, probably would be. Except for it wasn't, and he did it. And we're going to bring him up live right now. Just as soon as I pull him up here. So I screwed up. And I didn't write his number down, so I'm going to have to do this on the fly. So, you know, yeah, this isn't the Jimmy Kimmel Show, okay? We're not, our transitions aren't that smooth. Sorry. Sue me. And yeah, you can hear kids in the background because they're getting off the bus. So what? The rest of this should go smooth. Famous last words. Oh, we got the speaker on. You there?
Hello?
Hey, man, you there?
I'm here.
That's Brian Drolet, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, Brian Drolet.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, man, this will be the lowest budget studio you ever go into for the rest of your life, but I promise you it will also be the least painful because nobody will mistake you for Jason Bateman. Dude, I've got jokes all day, Drolet. I'm ready for you.
Dude, I love it. Bring it, baby. Bring it.
So I played the clip and I forgot to have your number ready. So that was the least smoothest transition ever. I think, oh God, what was Captain Sully was like real smooth. Yeah, I'm also auditioning. This whole thing is also just a straight up audition. So no, I'm kidding. Anyway, so Brian Drolet, let's if they haven't seen Be Like Trees, and you were just telling somebody, like, because I've probably on my live streams, even with 110 people in there, I've said, go see it, and I always have to say it's shot on an iPhone, but is that how you're telling people to go see it? Is that the first thing you say, or what do you say first when you tell people you want to tell them to check out your movie?
You know, we definitely tell people it was shot on an iPhone, but you know, most people that watch it say they would never know if they weren't told that. And the only reason I like letting people know that is it's so hard nowadays to get people's attention. There's so much content, and everything's so saturated. So I feel like when I tell somebody, hey, we made a feature film and we shot the whole thing on an iPhone with no crew, no budget, no lights, and pretty much no money, it sets the expectation really low, and I think it makes them really curious. Like, oh, I wonder what that, and they kind of go in thinking, all right. And I've learned over the years when people have low expectations, they're usually come away way happier. But if you hype something up and say, you have to see this, it's the best movie in the world, it could be a great movie, but their expectations were too high, so they kind of come away going, it was okay.
Yeah.
So
that was in my past life when I was single, that was my dating MO. I was like, don't expect much from me.
Yeah, under promise and over deliver.
Right. Well, for me, it didn't quite work out that way. It was under promise and even under deliver, if that's a phrase. So yeah, dude, if y'all, what was it like that? But I want to get back to Be Like Trees, obviously. But that you were on season 1 of The Hills. I really didn't watch it so much myself. My girlfriend at the time definitely did. Her daughter did. So I saw that. I saw that season plus other seasons, but. Was that is that your first break in Hollywood?
I mean, that was my first break in Los Angeles. I actually started in New York. Initially I was going to acting school in New York and plays, and I got an audition for another MTV show called Damage Control, and that was a hidden camera prank show. And that was the first thing that I ever auditioned for, and I actually got it. And I did 5 episodes of that show, so that was my first official break, I would say, in the industry. But then when I moved out to Los Angeles, The Hills was the first major thing, and obviously to this day, it's like one of my main credits that everybody knows that show and may or may not recognize me from it. But that's definitely, I would say the biggest of things I've booked.
So the clip I played was when you pull up in the Uber, the first one with the Warner Brothers executive. First of all, by the way, funny effing car, man. To have your car in this, and I don't know if that's because your car in real life was this dirty, but dude, I laughed so hard at that right off gate. I was like, he's an Uber driver in LA, and that car has got to be dirtier than any car I've seen around here in North Carolina, and I live in Redneckville.
Well, it's funny because when we went to go film that, somebody said to me, they're like, aren't you going to wash your car? And I'm like, hell no, it'll be way funnier if the guy's car is dirty, and, we'll clean it in the third act, but for now, this is where his life is at. It's a metaphor.
Dude,
and that is how dirty my car really was.
That is brilliant, too, though. Just like you said, the metaphor of really all you had to do, essentially, to get the point across was that now he's in a cleaner car. I mean, the story itself actually does a great job, obviously, of showing how you change. But the clean car really does the trick. When you do clean the car, it was like, oh, this guy's serious.
It was the same thing, with the dust all over the picture frame and the trophy and all that stuff, and the messy room. And, it's just in storytelling, visual storytelling, things as subtle as a guy dusting his picture frames and things like that. It's just letting the audience know he's in a better place and getting his act together.
Yeah, where did okay, so Jordan is in this movie with you, Jordan Eubanks, who also was in The Hills with you. You guys are kind of like, and I mean, don't get this wrong, and I'm not trying to compare in any kind of successful rankings or any of that kind of stuff, but I'm saying, like, in a way, like the Coreys were, Corey Haim and Corey Feldman. You guys are like really friends off of camera. I'm assuming that this depicts kind of how you fellows are, in real life together.
Yeah, absolutely. Our friendship in the movie is exactly our friendship in real life. Jordan and I actually met in the audition room for that show I mentioned, Damage Control. That's where we met, and we were both cast on that show together. And they kept grouping us up, like if they needed two guys pretending to be waiters, then they would put me and him, and so on and so forth. And then when we moved out to LA, we road tripped together, drove across country together, and then The Hills happened to both of us. We both were cast. So it was like we were naturally, life was kind of putting us together, and then we just built a real life friendship. And he's my best friend, and we're still, just like the movie shows, we really do paintings together and set up an art studio. And Jordan's a great guy, and we're always collaborating.
I'm a sports fan too, so I played basketball growing up. I guess you guys are pretty tall. I think there's a line in the movie that alludes to that. Are you 6'6" and he's 6'4", or the other way around? You basketball players, like in real life?
Yeah, we both played ball our whole life. We both love basketball, and I'm about 6'6", and he's about 6'4", maybe he's given himself a half an inch there, but I don't want to call him out. So we'll go with 6'4" for Mr. Eubanks.
Oh, God.
He might say the same thing about me, though, that I'm giving myself a little extra and tell me I'm 6'5.5", but that's also part of our busting each other's chops.
Well, at least you're not 5'6" and giving yourself that extra inch. You know what I mean? Like, where it really doesn't matter. But, in the NBA, everybody throws that extra inch on there. It's the shoes. It must be the shoes.
Oh, in college, I was listed at 6'8", and I always found that so funny. They always upsize you in college to intimidate on paper.
Is that like a coach's call, or is that, because I didn't get to play college ball, I was a complete failure at that part of it, but is that a coach's call, or is that, do the students have that choice?
I had nothing, and I don't think the coach had anything to do with the programs I got created. So I think it has something to do with the school programmers. Like I think they take the liberty of adding an inch or two just to mess with the competition. Because I remember when it came out and we all looked at our heights, we were like, who the hell did this?
Oh my God. Everybody's going to expect you to just dunk on everybody, and they're like, wait a minute, man, dude's supposed to be 6'8", and they got him on the point guard.
Oh, man. I would get into the games in college, and I thought I was a big guy until I had to go up against some of these trees. Feels like the appropriate term for the phone call.
Right.
But, I mean, It was, when I played college ball, it was insanity. I mean, I was definitely not like an MVP caliber player. I mean, I could hold my own, but I mean, there were guys you go up against, and it was just insane how big some of these guys were, how high they could jump. So, but I gave it my best shot.
Yeah, and in the movie, there's a scene that, getting back to the movie Be Like Trees. Speaking of, we were talking to Brian Drolet from the movie Be Like Trees. It is available right now on YouTube for free. The movie was shot. It is theatrical in its presentation, yet completely shot 100% on an iPhone with really no budget and no special effects. I can't say 100% no special effects, but they aren't. It's not CGI really. It's I don't know. You can explain that part if you want to. Yeah, there's a breakdown of animation, if you will. It's just a small part, but I don't want to spoil that for anybody. You start off the movie on a very serious note. This is a comedy. I feel like this is a dramedy and a little bit of a dramedy, but for the most part, it's a comedy. And
totally.
And it's based, what would you say, maybe a 95 to 99% on your real life, or I mean, just about 100% true, Brian, right?
Yeah, I'd put it at 98.9% with maybe like 1.5% wiggle room. But yeah, it's pretty much a autobiographical thing.
Yeah, and it starts off on a very serious note. And you want to get into your relationship with your mom and how she affected your life and what happened there?
Sure, absolutely. So my mother was diagnosed with a disease called scleroderma. And scleroderma is an autoimmune disease. It basically turns your immune system against itself, and your body thinks it needs to produce extra collagen to protect itself. And what that does is it turns your skin hard like stone. Sclero, I think, is I might mean Greek for hard or some other language, but it basically is, and derma is skin. But so it turns your skin hard, and it's very deteriorating, debilitating, and when it goes internal, excuse me, when it goes internal, it becomes fatal. And they give the average person, there's a couple different types. There's the type that isn't going to be fatal, and it's just going to affect, sometimes it's just part of your skin. It might be part of your arm or part of your leg, not necessarily your entire body, and it's not going to be fatal. But then there's the kind that does affect you all over and then will go internal. And for that, you get 3 to 5 years of life expectancy, which is obviously devastating. And that's what my mother, that's the news she had delivered to her. This is back when I was about 10 or 11 years old. And it was obviously devastating to our family, and I was so young, so I know my parents tried to protect me, but I knew something was definitely wrong with Mom. And, you know, her getting that disease, she fought for 15 years, and that's kind of what the movie talks about. The movie opens, and it gives you a backstory of, you know, this disease that my mother had, but it also lets you know my mother was an amazing artist. She was a painter, and she taught painting classes out of the house to like neighbors and family. And she really gave me my love for art and creativity, and she was also a really, really funny person, the type of person that was always smiling and laughing. And to be that way, to get diagnosed with a life-ending disease, but to still be laughing and joking and painting and living your life, it really sculpted who I am as a person. And I wanted to make a film that honored that and paid tribute to her spirit. And that was my intention as far as the heart and soul of this film. And so it starts off kind of with a photo montage of me and my mother over the years, and letting the audience know what she dealt with, and the spirit by which she lived her life. So that's a huge part of the film, and it was really therapeutic for me to implement that and go that route with the story.
It is, I think when I first watched, so I've watched that movie all the way through end to end twice, and then I've also pulled it up several times to show people clips, be like, you know, you need to see this. When I first watched it, when I saw the story about your mom, I stopped it and made a comment, and I said, I get the title now. And it wasn't the reason for the title, but was there an artistic, like a secondary artistic reason for the title, in that your mom, you know, with that disorder, the hardening of the skin on the outside, yet such a beautiful creature, in the way you explain it, growing roots, you know, downward and inward and also upward and outward. You know, that also metaphorically be like trees, but also, you know, be beautiful like a tree, even when you're not the person you were before your disease.
Sure. So regarding the title, the way that it all came about is initially we were just exploring all my personal stuff, and in real life, I love trees. I always have. You know, I love walking around. I'm a big walker. I love to walk around my neighborhood, and I think I got this from, you know, when you live with a parent whose time is so limited and they're so ill, you become extremely present and appreciative for every given moment. So a lot of times we can be so busy with our days and with our thoughts that we're not even taking around Mother Nature around us. And, you know, I love taking in trees. To me, were always so amazing because they're these manifestations of God. You know, I love that it's not man-made. It's this thing that's just growing, and I just find them to be beautiful and fascinating, and so that became natural dialogue in the movie. And when I was reading the script, the first draft, and I was sharing it with my co-director Chris Livingston, he loves trees as well, and so that dialogue was really popping for us. And we realized early on the whole because I say in the movie, part of the dialogue for people that haven't seen it, you know, trees are so amazing because it's like when some people might see a tree and just see a tree, but I see a contract with Mother Nature to coexist. What we exhale, they inhale. What they exhale, we inhale. And trees are amazing because they burst up through the pavement. You know, they go around and through, and they're always seeking the light, and their roots are firmly planted in the ground. They know who they are. So there's so much beauty there, and it's like you look at trees, they're these things that won't be denied. They're just going to keep growing and keep growing. And so that was a metaphor for not giving up and always seeking your truth and being kind of firm with who you are. And that's who my mother was. My mother never stopped growing, and regardless of her disease, she kept seeking the light, if you will, kept trying to be the best she could be. And that's really, Be Like Trees is a metaphor for never giving up and always trying to find your way around and through. And that's another reason why we love making the movie with no budget on an iPhone, because normally you would need, you know, $500,000 to make a movie, or minimum $200,000 to make a movie. And the movie is basically saying, no, we're going to find our way around that obstacle, and we're going to make this piece of art regardless. And so it all pays tribute to that spirit. So Be Like Trees, baby.
Yeah, man. Have you gotten any noise from like Cannes? Is it called Cannes?
The film festival?
Cannes Film Festival, sorry. Yeah. Have you gotten any inquiries about your movie? Or maybe any
certainly
other?
Not from the Cannes Film Festival or anywhere. I mean, you know, this industry, a lot of people have their head up their asses. They're so focused on names and stars and even all these festivals. All they care about,
Bravo.
You know, unfortunately, they're not looking for a little indie gem darling thing. They're looking for Quentin Tarantino, Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, because that brings prestige and notoriety. And so part of the reason we didn't even want to go the whole film festival circuit is we just kind of wanted to negate and go around all the gatekeepers, if you will. So whether it's film festivals, traditional distributors, we were just like, screw it, let's bring the movie right to the people. I'm from Queens, New York, and I grew up, Jay-Z never got signed to a label. He sold mixtapes out of his trunk.
Yeah.
Tyler Perry, he sold movies that he made out of his trunk. And I just thought, YouTube, everybody has YouTube. Everybody has access to YouTube. And I said, let's just put the movie on YouTube and market the hell out of it through social media, and let's do something different. And so we have not went for the other routes, and certainly nobody has contacted us. I have had producers and industry people reach out to me wanting to read scripts I've written and potentially make more films, so that's been kind of awesome. But no word from the Cannes Film Festival yet.
Well, I think just because of you're so well spoken, man. You can carry the whole promotion of this, the from beginning to end on the whole circuit, if it need be, with what you just said right there to me about the idea behind the title, Be Like Trees. It encompasses every question anyone would really want to ask about the movie, why you made it, how you made it, all of that. The whole damn thing is all wrapped up. And I don't know if you got a script in front of you, you're an actor, but I feel like that came from the heart. And that right there, to me, if somebody were trying to take a real gem of an idea, and this isn't a Blair Witch Project. This is not like the camera's all shaky and it isn't set like to try to make it look like it's on an iPhone. It is shot on an iPhone to make it look like it wasn't. You know, it's really, it looks like a full theater production. It just happens to be done off an iPhone.
Well, thank you so much for your kind words. And you know, this is all from the heart, and I'm so overjoyed that that's coming across, because you know, even though the movie is about my true story, and it, you know, any good movie, any good narrative that you make, it should come from a place of truth, even if it's not you playing yourself and telling your personal story. You know, that's the trick of any good artist. When a singer sings a song, when an actor acts in a movie, is you've got to bring truth to it so that it looks and feels authentic. And it's the same thing with the promotion part. You know, it's myself, my co-conspirators, Jordan Eubanks and Chris Livingston. Our heart and soul is in this thing, and so when we speak about it, it's just coming from straight from our souls, and no filter, baby.
So you became a comedian now, as and that's covered in the movie. I have the same issues with, you know, what you suffer from in the movie, where you're like, oh, you know, your friends tell you should be a comedian, and at the end of the movie, you literally almost go several times. It's very funny. The one, I'm not gonna spoil it, y'all. You just gotta watch it. But now I've looked you up, man, and I see you're doing it now. How you feeling about being a stand-up comedian also?
You know, it's so surreal, because I've literally had people tell me that I should be doing stand-up comedy for so long, and I had so much anxiety surrounding it. I just felt very self-conscious, and I think it was the sort of thing where, since people kept telling me, oh, you'd be good at that then I felt more pressure, because I felt like, I know I can't be good right out of the gate, so I don't want to disappoint people. But now I've been doing it for well over 3 years, and it gets easier and easier. Like, I don't have any anxiety about it at all anymore, and I enjoy it. You know, there's some people who are obsessed and they have to get up every single night. I really spread myself a little thin sometimes, because I'm trying to get another movie going. I'm writing scripts, so I'm not doing it every single night, but I do shows. I did a college tour last year. I opened for Daniel Franzese for a college tour that we did, and I really enjoy it. It still feels a little surreal to me, because it was something for so long that intimidated me, and so sometimes I have to pinch myself. You know, when I get up in front of 500 people at a college or university, and, you know, they all want photos at the end, I'm like, you know, these people have no clue how scary this was for me just not that long ago. So I think for me, it really helps give me confidence in other areas, and I think it's a good lesson and that's kind of what the movie alludes to. If there's something in your mind that you kind of think, man, I'd like to do that, but you're kind of talking yourself out of it, I would encourage everybody listening, give it a shot, try it. We build things up in our head way more, and stand-up has really taught me to kind of face my fears and just go for it, and I really enjoy it now. It's been a really good thing in my life.
Man, you're saying all the things that I do to myself, because I was a radio disc jockey for 10 years. I interviewed a lot of comedians, and when I was in Seattle in particular, the owner of Giggles would, every Friday, he'd be like, you know, you should come up, man, come up and do 5 minutes. And, you know, I'm one of those funny guys that in the situation, I'm funny, right? I can, quick-witted is what it is. And just what you said, friends would always tell me that, and I'd feel like I'd be letting them down if I bombed. Have you ever bombed? Did you ever bomb?
I've definitely bombed once or twice. You know, to get away from bombing is self-awareness. So, like, if you know you told a joke and it was awful, just make it clear that wasn't good, and the whole audience will kind of, you know, laugh, because. So what I say to anybody that's afraid of bombing is okay. You know, I did a show once. It's kind of a funny story. I'd been just doing it every night, and then one night I was on a show and I didn't realize every comedian was a black comedian, and the crowd was just an entirely black crowd, and I guess my humor didn't translate over too well to the African American community, and I found it hilarious. They were all looking at me like I was insane. And I thought, and I wasn't even upset about it at all. And then afterwards, all the comedians and people were just like, hey, no big deal. But bombing is just, it's part of the game. And it's just, once it happens to you, you realize it's just so not a big deal. Like, nobody cares about your bomb the way you do. People are just like, who cares? You got up there and did it.
So, as a personal thing, just for you to me, say I'm up there, I'm trying this shit, and I'm bombing. If I call it out for what it is, it kind of takes the weight of it off. I'm like, hey man, I'm blowing this one right here. Recognizing it with them.
Exactly. The only thing that makes watching a comedian cringe-worthy, makes you cringe, is if they're awful, but they don't know they're awful and they're just keep going, or if they say to the audience things like, oh, you guys suck tonight, or
right, it's their fault that you're not funny.
Yeah, so if you get up there and you're bombing and it's not going well, just call it out. Go, man, this is not going well. This worked out a lot better in my imagination. And then they'll laugh,
right?
And then they'll actually root for you.
Right, yeah, being even more honest with yourself to them. I got you, bro. Dude, I learned, I wanted to hear that. I need, in my own life, I need to hear that, here's how I failed. You know what I mean? I don't need to hear, here's how I was successful, because then I'm still like, well, maybe you're different than me. But I want to hear, here's how I failed and what I did to fix that part. Because I know I'm going to flunk a few things.
Oh, well, if that's what you want to hear, I basically failed for 15 years in a row, and Be Like Trees is the first thing that I've made that has gotten the response that it's gotten. But I had to make 2 other films and an entire web series and get things wrong and raise hundreds of thousands of dollars and not make it back and just fail over and over and over and over again. But it's with all the failing, and if you just keep going, you keep readjusting and going, okay, I see what I did wrong here. I see what I did wrong here. And just keep taking the lessons. And then sooner or later, you're going to do something and you're going to surprise yourself and you're going to go, oh, I didn't fail this time. It's working. Yeah. And it's only because you have the experience.
Dude, man, I wanna close on that positive. Every part of this has been positive, but on that note, because I speak to a community, particularly I got involved in my own YouTube world by watching videos from Slab City, California. You live in California. Have you heard of Slab City out in California?
I don't think I have heard of Slab City.
It's worth a look on YouTube, and there's some YouTubers from out of Slab City that are pretty popular in the traveling community. People who have decided to live off grid and go their own way. And I think a lot of people who watch those people who don't live in Slab City but find those people to be interesting need to hear your message. And I feel like this movie, Be Like Trees, exactly what you talked about, is a great message for the community that I'm coming out of. This community is very, very loyal. They're very they're all going to watch your movie. I guarantee you're going to get at least a good grand more people to watch that movie within the next 24 hours, because that's how loyal this community is. And I feel like your message is going to resonate in this community, and you're going to get a whole lot more word of mouth going up and down YouTube.
Well, I love that. Thank you, Slab City, for anybody that checked out the film. We're super grateful and appreciative for you. And, one of the messages of the movie is don't get it perfect, get it going. And so for anybody listening, just go for whatever it is that you want to do, and you can do it.
Yeah, man. And if you ever do head out to, it's in Niland, California, not too far from LA, and look up Community Cause on YouTube. Community Cause, C-O-Z, Community C-O-Z, and he'll that's your best in for Slab City. It's a great place to go check out and spend a weekend, man. Staying off grid. It's I don't want to tell you anymore. I don't want to surprise you, There's not a lot of trees, though. I got to say that. I'll leave it at that.
Well,
that's the cliffhanger. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Brian Drolet. Brian Drolet is the star and one of the. Did you write the whole movie by yourself, or because I mean it's about you? But I think you.
Yes, I wrote the movie and I co-directed it with my co-director Chris Livingston, and Jordan Eubanks is our co-producer.
And the movie is Be Like Trees. It's available right now on YouTube for free. It is shot entirely on an iPhone. You wouldn't have known it had we not told you. Brian Drolet, thank you so much for your time, my brother, and good luck, best of luck to you in the future, my man, and please don't be a stranger to the Good Job Buddy show, bro.
Thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. You have an awesome day.
All right, you too, man. I'll be in touch.
All right, later, brother. Thank you.
Later, man. That's Brian Drolet, y'all. Tell me what you think in the comments below, and I'm going to start linking my PayPal in this. If you like things like that and you want to support the show, please do. If you don't, then don't. But if you do, please do. And I'm going to treat this as kind of like he did, man. Brian Drolet was a big, I wouldn't say influence as much as he has been an inspiration to me lately. Be Like Trees, the movie itself, the way it was done, Brian himself and his story, they really inspired me to kick it up into the next gear. And for y'all been around and watched me through this last 10 months, it's time for me to kick it up to the next gear. I've been saying this is coming. This is what I mean by this is coming. We're only going to keep on getting better from here. And I consider you day oneers. And I love you for it. All right? So thanks for listening. Go see Be Like Trees. It's an hour and 30 minutes. It's on your YouTubers right now, y'all. Be Like Trees. BeLiketrees. We all know trees. Now let's go be like them.